Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So the news we're looking at today is actually interesting, but a little bit weird. So this is Crazy Defense Heroes. It is a standard mobile tower defense game from Animoca Brands. I guess we know Animoca Brands fairly well. They're pretty invested in blockchain gaming. Have been for a number of years, but before that they were just a kind of a mobile game publisher and developer. And even though they're kind of heavily committed to blockchain, they've also been just kind of releasing and operating their standard mobile games. So Crazy Defense Heroes up to this point has been nothing to do with blockchain. It's been pretty successful, a couple of million downloads. But what do we have here? So here we have the first official chess sale for Crazy Defense Heroes. So this is just the web page. You can see here it's on obviously iOS and Google. But if we go down here, so what's going on here? So this is a interesting attempt to combine an existing game with some blockchain kind of assets. This hasn't really been tried very much. There were certainly a few years ago people were attempting to do this. There are some issues. The obvious issue is that if you have an existing game with lots of users, that's the kind of, in a sense, the biggest problem for blockchain games at the moment is they have no users. It's very difficult to onboard people. Whereas if you have millions of players already, or even thousands of players, if you can only persuade like 1% or even 1/10% to kind of onboard to get a kind of a blockchain wallet, then that's probably the easiest way to bootstrap a kind of blockchain kind of community of gamers. Obviously, the issue is people who've been playing a game already don't necessarily want the complexion, and you have to kind of obviously prove to them there's massive benefit in doing that. And there's also the issue of, certainly if you're a mobile game, how do you kind of deal with Apple and Google, who have kind of quite strict controls about how money flows within their system. Anyway, so this is this chest kind of a system that they're doing, official chess sale. So we have this kind of like, I guess we've all seen this before. This is a typical onboarding kind of ramp for anyone getting involved with blockchain. They're not doing anything clever here. In fact, I would argue this is slightly even more complicated than you would normally have. So normally you would create a wallet and have to buy some kind of crypto. And then you kind of go into the sales thing here. Here, because what it looks like is actually that Animoca Brands is not particularly trying to, or it's not clear that Animoca Brands is trying to onboard existing players, which is what you'd think, because in step 2, it's saying download the game. So if you don't already have a copy of the game, it's telling you to download the game. And then you need to get the user ID. So it could be, I don't know, I haven't spoken to them. They could be more looking to kind of onboard crypto gamers or blockchain gamers already who are already interested. But then you kind of got this kind of dualism here that the first step is create a digital wallet. So the assumption is the people the people they're targeting don't have a digital wallet. But the second step is if you don't have the game already. So there's kind of, I don't quite know if they're trying to onboard people who haven't got a digital wallet and don't have the game. I mean, that seems like a very interesting UA strategy. The other thing is, if you haven't got the game and you're not playing it already, like me, you have to complete the tutorial to get the user ID settings. And once you purchase the chests, we'll go down and see what's in there. You have to have this user ID to kind of get the rewards. So it's pretty simple in terms of the chest, I think. No, okay, right. So there are three different sorts of chests. We can see in terms of actual numbers, there's not very many. So there's 60 of the rare chest. We've got 35 of the epic chest and 5 of the legendary chest. We can see there's only been 2 sales so far. So legendary chest is $100, epic chest is $50, and rare is $20. So what's the point in doing this? So the rare chest contains a 2-star collectible card and a satchel of gems and 600 VIP points. So the first bit here, the 2-star collectible cards. This is an NFT on the Ethereum network, an ERC20 token, an ERC721 token, a typical NFT that we all know and love. This actually just lives outside the game. This is nothing to do with the game. So this is just a collectible card that you have. It doesn't work in the game. There's no game based around this, at least at the moment, or even that they're talking about. And then you have these two things, Satchel of Gems and VIP points, that are useful within the game, which is why you need to get your user ID. And then you put in, so you see here, you choose your platform, you put in your user ID, you buy what you're going to buy in DAI or in ETH. So obviously, not obviously, but DAI is a stable coin, so one DAI is $1. So if I was going to buy one of those, the price is 20 because they're $20, and then you buy. So what's interesting about this, I think, two aspects is they've created these collectible cards, which is fine. I mean, obviously anyone can create an NFT. But what's interesting is how they're selling it. Is this saying this crate was purchased for $500? Let's go back. So this crate was purchased for $500 and it was sold for $1,200 a day later. So the problem with that is that's a pretty rare use case. That doesn't happen very often, certainly at that high level of value. And the other thing is, the game they're talking about there is their F1 game, and that actually is a game. So the point of having those NFTs is that's the game. You need the NFTs to play the game, and the rarer the NFTs, the better you are in the game. So there's a kind of utility you have that's kind of to a degree driving the price. These are just collectible cards with no game built around them at the moment. May happen in the future, not mentioned at the moment. So they have no value apart from anything the market will give them. And why would the market give them a value when they're just aesthetic at the moment? So that's kind of one issue. The other issue, which I don't understand, I'll be totally honest, is we know Apple and Google are very, very protective, certainly Apple, particularly Apple, I should say, about people spending money outside of their app store, and then transferring that value in. So that's always been the issue with a lot of blockchain stuff in mobile, is that the point of having a blockchain kind of element to it is obviously you have the kind of the whole economy is outside the game. You have this whole kind of economy, real world economy. So if you have ETH, you can buy things in the game for ETH, which is and then if I could say buy an NFT for 1 ETH and then transfer it into the game, then Apple's view, rightly or wrongly, is, well, you've just spent $200 buying something outside the game. You've bought it into our ecosystem. We want our 30% tax on that. So that's been a real problem for mobile games. And I don't really see how this. I would be surprised. I mean, Animoca brands are well known, and I'm sure they've spoken to the app stores to do this. But this is the first I've seen of people being able to spend crypto outside of a walled garden app store. In this case, a Satchel of Gems. And in fact, you see here, you're actually getting 150% more per value than you would get within the game. So they're kind of encouraging these people. There's only 100 of these, but they're encouraging people to spend crypto value outside of the game, and then they will magically bring that into the game for you. The only way I can think they're doing is behind the scenes, they are paying Apple and Google the 30% tax on this value. That's the only way I can think it happened. Otherwise, they will just get crushed. They'll get kicked off the App Store, which is which they don't want. So there we go. That's interesting. I mean, it's always interesting. Animoca brands, I think, are a very interesting company. They're trying lots of different things. They are really committed to blockchain games. So it's not a criticism of them at all. But I think this kind of isn't it? You can kind of see why. A lot of people have kind of given up trying to bring crypto into existing games, certainly on mobile, but even on PC, we've not seen a lot of takeoff of that, just because you have these, you have complications with any blockchain game, but this kind of flow is very much more complicated because you have people already playing the game, you have people who haven't played the game already that you have to onboard, you have people who know crypto, people who don't, and the whole thing becomes a little bit of a mess. Anyway, interesting to see how this goes. You can just go to the website. I'll put the links in, and you can obviously keep an eye on. It's blockchain. We can see how many of these things are sold. So we can see if there's. I'm sure this is a bit of an experiment to see what happens, really. And I wouldn't be surprised equally if these 2-star these collectible cards actually become a card game, a blockchain game. So they're kind of. But it's a bit weird that they would not mention that in the first place, because that would be obviously an obvious selling point if you're saying we're going to build collectible card gaming future around this. Get the NFTs now, and also you get this kind of bonus if you're playing the game as well. Try and bring the two together. That would be how I would position it. But there we go. I'm not a game developer, so I'll just shut up. Thanks for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World Daily, where I chew up the daily news of blockchain games, which is often weird and wonderful, and it takes a lot of time to get my head around it, which is why I try and do these videos. If you're interested in blockchain games as well, please do subscribe to the channel. We're pretty active covering news, playing games, trying to make sense of it all, aren't we all? So thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you again soon.